This is the 25th day since I entered camp. But I don't want us to mistake this podcast for something that is NYC alone. I know at this point in my life, this is what I am doing. This is what we are doing. But anybody who is listening now and has scrolled down knows that at this point, we have done a lot on this podcast together long before now. And this is just one phase. Today I did not go anywhere. Like yesterday, I had done the documentation, I had taken my break. And now it's on to the next thing. One of the main things that drive good living, that drives us, and by us, I mean myself that creates this thing, and you guys are supported by listening and sharing, is to try and dispense knowledge to anybody that listens here. And by doing that through talking to people who possess unique knowledge. And I cannot exactly do that just by sitting or standing and talking to my phone once every day. That doesn't make sense. That would defeat the goal. It will become repetitive because how much do you really care about my own personal life experiences? Especially when I don't learn anything. Even if today, I will talk about the things that I've learned. But before then, I'd like all of us to know together what we are doing. Because with each comment that comes in and with each number that tops up the view count, I'm motivated to put out a next episode. And that is why we've been doing this for, 25 days straight. And they say once you've done something for 21 days, it has become a new habit. So it is fantastic that you people have helped me form a new habit. Now, in terms of what we really need to do on the podcast is to talk to people that have unique knowledge and expertise. And then by my conversations with them, we can extract information and knowledge that would not otherwise exist anywhere. You would not find it in books as fun fact or anything like that. Like the unique experiences of a doctor or nurse or a midwife or a remote worker or a cultist or an inmate or somebody in the paramilitary or a NEPA person or accountant or police or somebody in the military. They all have unique experiences that would be very interesting for you to learn. And they also have things that they learn, things that their profession and their job and their lifestyle has taught them, that just by some form of lateral move or thinking, you would be able to use in your own life. It happens a lot. The health techniques that the doctor will talk about passively might help you save somebody's life in 5 years' time. Or the security tips that the policeman talks about, just passively, not even that he's advising you politically, can help you protect your family when you have one eventually, or if you already have one. And this is the reason why I feel like this is important to share. Because otherwise, as some of us already are, I am a curious person, and it is my curiosity that is driving me. I would ask these questions otherwise. And it is why my source of income is separate from the podcast, because I would be a poor man, at least up to this point, if I was only depending on the podcast for money or doing this for money. It's just for us to, together, with my creation and your support, we build something that people can learn from. In this episode, I'm going to talk about what our plans are moving forward. And one of them is getting back the videos. Before, I would easily shoot at podcast studios in Abuja or in my house in Makurdi, just invite the guests and then have the discussions there. But in a new city, where first of all, my living area is even far enough from my place of work, it is now a new task to find a third location to do these things, these video shoots. Well, now that I just had the idea, I don't know if it's possible to actually shoot podcasts inside the barracks. If there's a place or a studio or something like that, I can have that can make that happen, then that would do me a world of good, and it's probably something I would look into. But our main aim is to get people of these walks of lives. Now, this is going to be a bit long, but I want you to listen to the list of people that I would like to have on the podcast. And if you know somebody in Lagos that has information or can do some of the things that I list here, then please contact them and tell them that there's a podcast open for them to come and talk about their life experiences and their profession. First is the doctor. And the doctors of all types, even native doctor, anybody, whatever the specialty is, right? Nurses, midwives, astrologer, anybody with esoteric knowledge, a public speaker, a remote worker, mortuary attendant, cultist, former or even present, inmates. I cannot get a present inmate. I will not go to the prisons. But a former inmate, for example. NDLEA official, somebody who is into drug law enforcement. Loan shark or investment bank. A finance person, an accountant. Finance person is different from accountant too. Anybody that does anything finance, if you collect a job, you're a finance person. Accountant, NEPA personnel, a paramedic, paramilitary, police, military, so Navy and the rest, Army, yeah. Social media expert, nutrition expert, mechanic, car dealer, solar dealer, builder or a civil engineer, a therapist, an inventor, politician, old man, old woman, somebody in insurance. This is not the end of the list, but this is all I could think of, and this is a total of 31 professions or 31 unique walks of life. And anybody who has deep knowledge on any of these things and has some experience and has something to say, I would be more than willing to have them on the podcast. So, the next move I have right now is I have 3 meetings with certain people who I think who care enough about me, my stay in this city, and the plans I have for the future. And I've made contact with 3 out of these 4 people. The 4th one, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I remember when he moved here, and I've tried to text him on WhatsApp, but the message didn't deliver, so I wonder if he still has that number. But I remember I used to see him on TikTok, so I have messaged him there as well. And now, I've tried to set meetings with the other 3. I haven't gotten a set day. Oh, one of them wanted to see me today, but today was my first free day. I wanted to take a break from all that long bus ride and all of that. But he's not free tomorrow, so we have to do something next week. So on a perfect day, I would have all these meetings inside of next week. It will be a lot of walking about, but we are going to have strategic discussions. I'm going to have strategic discussions with each of them to help me achieve some of these things I want to achieve now, or help me shape these plans that I'm going to share with you here. One thing I want to do is to be able to find a podcast studio. Kachi help me come up with these ideas, right? I want to find one podcast studio that would help me, that would support me shooting my podcast there for a month. Which means we are not paying per shoot, we are paying for the time frame. So that I can invite some of these people now that you guys are going to help me find and interview them. Let me not say interview, shoot a podcast with them, talk with them, sit with them, and have as many of these things as I can in that month, because I'll be free in that month. It's holiday, long break. And then I'll have enough content to be able to put out content, maybe bi-monthly or monthly, if I can record enough. And so if I meet all these people, some of them will stay on the island, there will be a way that I can come up with how I can achieve this thing with maybe a level of ease. And so that I can ask all my curiosities about all these topics and still have it recorded. And then that's the plan at the end of the day. However, I cannot fund putting out video episodes every week. So there's an intro that I saw today on something I watched on YouTube. So one basket mouth, something like that, average Nigerian. The intro, so clean, so beautiful. so catchy and engaging. I try to edit intros the way I already do. If you see any of my interviews that I've done recently this year, but I'm not a skilled video editor. I don't have a passion for making these things beautiful. I just try. And so I'm going to need a professional who does that type to do my own. And if I'm going to pay for that for each video episode, I have to budget it out of a monthly income. Because weekly, I know that editor will not come cheap. So if the podcast was paying for it, then fine. But Coke Boy and his work and his business is paying for it, so that is a different thing altogether. I have a life to live outside of the podcast and my curiosities. So that is where we are with this whole thing. Now, I've been at home today. I walked Cheta, Kachi's dog. Oh my God, there's not too much media today, but obviously I'll try to get the videos or the pictures of myself and this dog out today. I tried to fix my boot as well. After this recording, I'm going to go outside, see if the man is still there. He lives just opposite this compound. And not lives, his shop or whatever. So I'll go and check if he's still there by the time I'm done with this. This is 8:59 p.m. It's almost 10 o'clock. Oh, what am I saying? It's almost 9 o'clock. It's almost 9 o'clock. So I hope he'll be there by the time I'm done with this. I don't like empty days, let me be honest. The rest is there, but once you've gotten enough sleep and enough food, then what next? But what have I been doing today? I've been learning. And I learned about emotional intelligence. And according to what this guy says, well, from the video I watched from Big Think channel on YouTube that I follow a lot, on Big Think, this guy, I've forgotten his name, this old man, he is the person who made that actually a popular phrase, emotional intelligence. First of all, emotion and intelligence are like two polar opposites. Like, emotion is something, intelligence is another thing, but putting them together now seems like an oxymoron. However, it is the intelligence of emotion, like being smart about emotions, being intelligent about emotions. And it's something that he wanted people to study in schools at first. But you remember, the school system is not designed to make you have a fulfilled life. It's designed to train you to join the machine of running the world, because the world is a show that has to go on regardless. And it is human beings that walk that machine. That's a different theory altogether, but you people know that is true. Now, emotional intelligence is difficult because it takes consciousness to do that. And if you are in your mind all the time, you cannot stay conscious enough and present enough. There are 4 aspects of emotional intelligence, and I cannot remember them because, God, I was watching this normally, like I always just watch all these YouTube videos. I wasn't taking notes. But one that stuck to me was self-awareness. Self-awareness is like to be able to know thyself, right? And self-awareness is a topic that has been there since. Like, man, know thyself. Like Socrates said that. Socrates that lived before fucking whoself. You understand? So self-awareness is something that has been talked about long before now. And knowing yourself, it means simply being aware of your own thoughts, feelings, emotions, things that happen around you, and how they shape your perception, your decisions, and things like that. If you are aware, it means that when I see a story online about somebody's mother that, stabbed him because of some fucking reason, I don't know, man. Get what I'm trying to say? Seeing that would make me feel a certain type of way. But if I can recognize that, so imagine now, if I let this thing affect me, I will start thinking that this is how my own mother would be, or stuff like that, as opposed to just allowing that to override my current feeling and thoughts about myself and my surrounding, and then have that become my new reality. Just sitting down and recognizing that, this is a thing that affects me in this way. Or if I'm playing football and somebody insults me and I get triggered, I understand, this person just insulted me. And as a result, I feel angry. And I could just go and slap him, but I know that I feel angry as a result of what he has done. And I feel like slapping him. But I'm aware of this, so I have the room to decide not to slap him, even if the space for that is small. I can slide into that space and decide, okay, I'm not going to react with this emotion. And that is what self-awareness can do. And then there's social awareness, which is like the awareness of your surrounding, the awareness of other people, of your relationships. If this is difficult to actually say, because I've had fights recently with people that I love, and I'm not proud of the level of social awareness that I showed, because in theory, saying it, although I've watched this video now before or after the fact, but I still felt like I could have done better in those situations. For example, when you're having an argument with somebody and you're trying to get your point across, you're going to say something and you're not getting your point across, and they too are getting frustrated and they're saying annoying things. It's all a case of if one person would listen, right? And it should be you, because you are the one that now has the knowledge of social awareness. If you listen to what somebody is trying to say and then repeat it back to them, repeat what you think they are trying to say, and then now say what you want to say. So he's talking and talking and talking, or he's talking and talking and talking, and then you listen to what they are saying. Let them pour out their hearts. How to Influence and Influence People is a book by Dale Carnegie that I read last month, 2 months ago. And it was saying that people would love you simply just by letting them talk and exhaust their battery, like exhaust what they have to say. It might take a while, it might be strenuous, they might trigger you, but with discipline, and you just stay. I'm trying to get to the end of this now, find out what they're trying to say. If you finish that and you now repeat their major pain points back to them, and then you can now say what you want to say, perhaps 70% of the argument is done. It's easier said than done, but with practice and some consciousness, or with conscientiousness, is that what I'll call it, but with presence of mind, you will be able to achieve it. And over time, you just become an overall better person. And I think it is a quality that I have to master if I'm going to be in this line of work where I'll be interviewing people or talking to people. I try it a lot, because I know that even if you are talking nonsense, in editing, if I feel like, okay, this is becoming repetitive, I can just cut that part out and move on to the part where I ask the next important question, or where you digress into something more interesting. So that is why when people come and sit and have interviews with me, have these podcast discussions, they actually feel lighter and better after. I can feel it in them. They're always glad that they did it. Even if when I start pitching them, it will be like I'm the one begging them to come and talk. It is why I will never offer anybody money to come on the podcast. Yes, you might have clout, but at this point, none of the people I mentioned here now have anything to do with clout. I don't care. I just need the person to know what they're talking about. I don't need them to have social media safe. That's why I said it's a bit selfish. It is my curiosity, but I believe it is curious people that will be interested in it, and then they will find the knowledge that they're looking for in it. Now, I cannot remember the other aspects of emotional intelligence, but overall, I think it's just simply being able to step out of your mind into the real world and then see what is happening around you and interpret it and calculate it. Like, notice your environment and the people around you, how it shapes your perceptions and feelings, and separate that from who you are. Separate that from who you are. Everybody's environment affects them. Somebody, he said, he's traveled around the world and he's had several conversations with different people, and he always asks people around the world this question: tell me about the boss you loved, and tell me about the boss you hated. And when people talk, all he hears, is that people simply love the bosses with high emotional intelligence, and they hated the ones with low emotional intelligence, because the ones with high emotional intelligence, they pay attention to them, they listen, they take into consideration the things that they have to say, how they are feeling. Somebody who doesn't have emotional intelligence, if he's angry at you, like your boss now, he's angry at you, and he starts shouting at you, he doesn't care how you feel while you're doing it, not because he hates you, or he just cannot, he doesn't have the ability, he has not developed the skill of paying attention to another person's emotions and from their body language and stuff like that, and then adjust his behavior to try and get a more positive behavior, emotion out of the person he's talking to. For example, a boss that is always shouting and shouting and shouting. If I'm shouting at you and scolding you, and I see that is not working, I should be able to change tactic, right? But a boss that is not emotionally intelligent will just, because he's filled with his own emotion and angry at the thing that you did, he's just going to spew out everything that comes to his mind until he's satisfied within himself. And that eventually just wounds the person underneath you. Well, a boss with emotional intelligence would understand that you've made an error and find more creative ways, because he's paying attention, not catering to your emotion, but paying attention to what is wise in the moment and understanding that, okay, this thing that this person has done now has offended me in this way, but it will not be best to react with anger, because that is not the end result we are looking at. We are looking at how we will not have this thing repeat itself again. And shouting and insulting them is not the way to do it. It's by correcting them and telling them exactly what to do next time, and then telling them the consequences if they repeat such an action again. It is clearer, it is clever. And so entirely, to be a better boss, you just need to be emotionally intelligent, or to be a better person at the end of the day. So probably go on YouTube and search emotional intelligence big think, and you would see this particular video or videos on the subject. And just by spending a few minutes watching it, you will learn something. Now, EQ, he says, is going to be the new gold, because IQ is beginning to be taken over by AI. For example, IQ is about what you know, right? It's about what you literally know, like facts that you know, things that you know. I don't know how else to say it, but that is IQ. But then EQ is a different thing that you can learn at different ages. For example, an IQ of a person who is 17 years old, you cannot use the same measure to test IQ of a 17-year-old to test the one of a 45-year-old, right? But EQ can be learned at any age. Me, at 27, can have high EQ, and the man at 60 will have low EQ. But if he learns, he can have the same EQ as me, just by learning over time. We'll both be caught up. It's a skill, it's not knowledge. It's a skill, and it doesn't leave you. But if I had an IQ of, let's say, 120 at 17, and I grew up to become 45 years old, and I don't learn anything new, like Avatar Ang, I stay stuck in an iceberg. At 45, if they test my IQ again, it will reduce at that age, because the knowledge has to evolve with your age. But with EQ, once you learn the skill, you've got it. And AI cannot replicate EQ because it stays with the human. Whereas IQ, well, very soon, in fact, AI, ChatGPT is smarter than 99% of human beings. So that's done at the end of the day. You put ChatGPT in your school system, it will smack straight A's till NYSC. But there is no ChatGPT for EQ. You can only advise you when you ask it questions. But you cannot read human behavior in real time and give you get like it. It's inbuilt when you learn the skill. It's why you need to learn the skill. Now that is what I learned today. Tomorrow is going to be Saturday. I'm going to plan my day. I'm going to see how I can set some of these meetings for sure. That is the thing. Like, let me know exactly when I am going to these places. I know one is in Yaba, one is in Lekki. I don't know where the other two are. But I know one of the other two is still on the island, and that is going to be a long journey that I'm looking forward to. So I hope that by the time I'm recording this podcast tomorrow, I'll tell you when exactly we are moving to the island and when we are going to this place and that place and what we are doing with the following week. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. I hope you are being productive with your day. I hope you have a good day, because this is coming out in the morning. I hope you have a good day. And please keep engaged in the comments. I love how engaged you guys are, and I love you. And we are going to wait until the 25th minute to end this one, because I have an OCD for round figures, and so it's only about 15 seconds left until then. Please remember, these people that I said I wanted on the podcast, if you have any of them that are in Lagos, let them know that somebody wants to hear their perspective on things. Or if you have any suggestions to the kind of people that I should interview, let me know as well. Peace out.